Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our regular Board of Trustees meeting, Village of Glenwood, Tuesday, August 19, 2005. We'll call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. We can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion to approve the National Night Out Regular Board meeting minutes of August 2025.
So moved.
Any questions? I'm sorry. Absolutely.
I have a,
Roll call.
hang on,
Roll call. The clerk, can you give us a
Oh.
minute, Trustee Brown? Just 1 minute.
okay.
Roll call.
Trustee Mosley,
Present.
Trustee Brown,
Here.
Trustee Williams,
Present.
Trustee Taylor,
Present.
Trustee Roll, Trustee Hadnot.
Here.
Okay, we had did the motion and there was a question. Do we wanna, you had the motion, I think had not first. Who second? And Mr. Williams, okay. Trustee Brown, you had a
Yeah,
question?
I just want to make just a brief notation on the minutes. Just real brief. I've already gone over it with the clerk. So on my comments, I did ask about the animal control officer. I asked about the duties, et cetera, and Chief Petticourt did answer them. However, I asked also about how to contact the animal control officer. We don't know how to, do we call the police department and ask for a specific extension? Or how do we make a complaint to that officer?
Part-time officer. So if you have specific questions for the animal control officer, you can call the police station. They'll direct you to her line and extension. There's an emergency in progress, 911 is still the applicable means of contacting someone for assistance.
And if we want to report something, the same thing, call the police department and they'll transfer us over? If she's there.
Not a regular police officer will handle the call.
Okay, and last but not least, I just want to add that I remember Chief saying that we can't call her about wildlife, like because while she doesn't handle raccoons and skunks and anything like that, correct?
All about wildlife, but we are limited what we can entertain. For example, if there's an animal in distress, injured, or if it's actively being a wildlife animal actively engaging in an attack, if there's rabid, then certainly call us, and that'd be probably a 911 call. But as far as, if someone sees a raccoon across the property, it's best to let them cross their property and get out, because wildlife is protected by the state law.
Or if it's trapped in our garage or in the garbage can, we can't call about that?
Can call, but we may or may not be assisted. It depends on what it is, and that may be something where we refer you to a pest control.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Roll,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Motion passed. Public comments limited to 3 minutes. The clerk will time you.
Could you turn the mic on, please?
Again. My name is Connie Webster. I live at 839 West Manor Court. I have an issue with abandoned vehicle. So I'd kind of like to know what the ordinance is. There's a car that's been sitting on Roberts for 7 days now. I've called 3 times. 3 times have come out. First time it was like, well, it doesn't appear to be stolen. Everything seems to be in order. It's Indiana plates. So what do I do? I don't feel comfortable. It's right on the side of my house. I've never seen anybody coming and going as far as the car. It's just been sitting there. What do I do? Hello?
If you hang around after the meeting, excuse me, I'll grab your information, I'll talk to the police chief, and we'll get back in touch with you tomorrow.
I will do. On Roberts now, not on Manor, but it's right there off of Manor, right onto Roberts.
Yeah, but that's at 5:30 now, so. Yeah. So, Tony Arcola. There are a lot of questions I could ask, but I'll keep it. First, let's imagine I'm a new employee and I come in my package, do I have a tiered idea of what my accrued vacation and sick time would be? So I'm gonna throw out some numbers. So 1 to 3 years, so many hours. 3 to 7 years, so many hours, and it's capped. So if I'm a 20-year employee, I may be capped. Do we have something like that now?
What is your specific question, Mr. Clark?
Does a new employee have a knowledge of how many hours he has per pay period
All employees are aware of what
of what they have?
DOTs are.
Okay, now, I will, in the attorney's report, I'll just refer to number 2 and number. At some point, the village has to challenge lawsuits. I'm not saying we don't do that now. I'm saying that to be in the habit of settling, no. That's why we have an attorney. And some lawsuits, you have sometimes, I'm not gonna say call their bluff, but I'm gonna say sometimes, you call their bluff and make them fight for it. And so the idea of settling, not all the time. And I'm sure the attorney will let us know exactly what has a chance and what doesn't. Okay? Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Melinda Platt, 423 West Arquella. In speaking about the policy on the settlement, so do we have an idea of how many retirees are coming back for compensation for unclaimed sick leave? I mean, is that a typical thing that occurs? Or, so it's usually settled at the time of departure. When they leave, then they know what their package is, what their settlement package is. So it's not something that you would have to consider that other employees might come back and say, hey, I got sick leave I didn't claim.
Correct.
Okay, because I know for municipalities, it must be different. Because if a person during the time of their tenure, if they are taking sick time, then I'm sure that is part of the agreement. That's taken in consideration, all of that, over a course of X amount of years. I was just wondering, this is a normal course that people come back and settlement? And your answer is no. And then on the Windows 11, I know Windows 10 is expiring in October, so this is timely. But $42,000, is that just for Windows 11 or is that something else?
I'm sorry?
Is that just for Windows, is that just for computers or is that for something else for $42,000?
That is for your the mandatory Windows update.
For 42, how many computers do you have?
So the total cost of that item on the agenda is for the software upgrades to existing computers and the replacement of computers that are outdated that Windows 11 will not be able to upgrade to. I believe 97% of the computers that need to be replaced are in our police and fire vehicles, not at workstations within the village. So those are machines that need to be replaced so that our police and fire can get around. The rest is just a cost to upgrade the existing machine.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Deborah Birmingham. For the past several years, I've expressed the need for our village to have a YouTube channel so that residents will know what's going on. I stood before the former administration and named off about 20 surrounding communities that have YouTube. If people can't be here, they can still be informed as to what's going on. For the past 3, 4 years, always an excuse why they couldn't do it. More people can get YouTube than can get Zoom. I want to thank you, Mayor Hart, Village Clerk Durkin, and all those of you here who work to get YouTube, whether I'm traveling or I'm able to be here. I thank Mrs. Hannah for over the years trying to make sure we get out the information. In this information age, we need information. If anything goes down in a village, people need to know what's going on now. So I'm glad that you all have taken this first step to make sure that our village can be informed and keep people abreast. I also noticed the ordinances. As I've mentioned over the years, it's the village, the trustees, the government. You all have the power and the authority to create, establish, amend, whatever you need to do to amendments and ordinances. So I'm looking here on tonight's. You all have several ordinances that you are amending. I hope you explain it to the audience. And just like you all are able to amend ordinances here, I look forward to you all doing so when we talk about property maintenance, economic development, and everything else. Thank you.
Thank you. No other comments?
Give me 1 second. Don't start my time yet, sir. Want me to write this down? Good evening, Mr. Clerk. The name is Murdoch, 1102 Wisconsin Street. I had a couple of items that I wanted to speak about. First of all, in reference to the website that you guys have, there needs to be an update made as far as the Glenwood Homeowners Association meeting is concerned. It's a minor thing, but it could be major for us in terms of bringing more people to our meetings. You have the old date on there, day, not date, which says that we meet on Wednesdays, but we meet on Mondays now, the second Monday of every month, except that we don't meet in July. So if we can get that changed, JR, the second Monday of every month, yes. It may be minor to some, but it's major to us. Secondly, there was a young lady, and I can't remember her name. I saw her post online somewhere, and she spoke about doing something with the teenagers. And we keep talking about the youth and the seniors, the youth and the seniors, the youth and the seniors. But when you boil it down to, it's always the seniors that seems to galvanize and get the things that's needed for them. She wanted to put some things together, and I don't recall what they were. I was trying to search for it on the computer. However, my computer's down for the next couple of days, so I'm trying to just go on memory. But what it was is that I wanted to bring to her attention that was the things that she wanted to do with the children. More or less, I saw it as an advantageous if we bring the kids together, competitive wise, not just to say, hey, we out here and we want you all to recognize it. There's a lot of competitive types of things they can do. There's instrumental, there's voice, there's art, all kind of things that they can compete with. With that being said, I think that it would be awesome if they came and had a band that they created, had singers, had poets, things of that nature, competing in double Dutch contests, whatever it is. And then they can come together and we can vote and look at them and see who would win a prize. But then not only that, if we happen to get a choir together of young adults, then they can go around and represent us and singing in different places and things of that nature. I think that would be awesome. So I don't hear no music. See, that's why I need these kids around me right now. So, but no, seriously, if I can ever find out that site, I just want us to put this down on record to say that whomever saw that piece, identifying that the lady wanted to do something with the youth, I would like to try to give her some of these ideas of what, and I'm sure somebody may have read that article, something like this. Last but not least, there are certain things that we have on this agenda that we need to still identify. But I just also wanted to get an update on Tuscany Garden as well as Glenwood, not Glenwood, but the restaurant on Main Street. I can't think of it. Glenwood Oaks, thank you, Larry, and Trustee Larry. And so consequently, just to find out where they stand with their taxes, don't you hit that button just yet. And so with that, then we got the last item on the agenda. Everybody keeps talking about the payroll being deducted or something. I was getting a little short-sighted with what I'm trying to say, but about the person is trying to recapture some finances that should have been done before this new administration came on board, if that was to be done at all. I want you to consider that and realize that we're not above water yet with the bank account that we have, and if we're going to keep depleting it, we're not going to ever get to that point. So think about that. I got 2 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Gerald McCullough from Glenwood Estates. Just got one concern, and it's about the tree trimming. So I wanted to kind of direct that to Joe, just to get a status on where we were at, because he told me they were going around the whole village doing that. Because with these storms, even like today, I had a pretty good sized branch that fell in my driveway. So I just kind of want to know where we are on that, because it's kind of been ongoing for a while. If Joe could address that for me, I appreciate it.
Yes, we did go around and address the storm damage that branch picked up in front of your house from the storm damage.
No, I mean, it was one branch out there that I got up myself today, but I'm just talking
today?
about, it's a lot of bad branches in the tree, period.
Yeah, we periodically go around and trim trees throughout the season. Try to get as
Right.
much done before the winter comes and then start back up in the spring.
So where are you guys at on that now? Because I've been making this request for a while now, and you said you were going around.
We did, I thought we trimmed the one at your house. Is there another one?
It's the same one that I've been focused on, so I don't know which one you're talking about, but I can point it out if you drop by.
We stick around after the meeting and then we talk more about it.
I'm sorry.
I said I'll talk to you after the meeting more about
Okay.
it. Okay.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you. No other comments, bills payable and payroll. Jansen?
The bills payable for August 14, 2025, the corporate is $291,028.25. Motor fuel tax, $2,819.44. Sewer and water, $173,457.01. Bond payment fund for $900. Glenwood Golf Course, $76,512.81 for a total of all funds of $544,717.51.
Can I get a motion for bill payable 2025, a total of all funds, $544,717.01?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Any questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Williams,
Aye.
Trustee Taylor, Trustee Rowe, Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Motion pass. Jansen, payroll.
For payroll for the check dated August 8th of 2025, administrative was $18,322.21. Public Works, $11,392.10. Police Department, $98,341.52. Fire Department, $20,855.60. Senior Center, $259.50. Elected positions, $1,071.30. Sewer and water, 21,156.76. Glenwood Golf Course, 39,532.15, with a total payroll of 210,931.14, of which we have reimbursable of $1,401.92, which brings the grand total payroll down to 209,529.22.
Can I get a motion for payroll August the 8th, 2025, in the amount of $209,529.22?
Second.
Questions?
I have a question. Mr. Jensen, on the police and fire totals, does that include any overtime?
Yes, that's the total payroll inclusive of.
Okay, we used to separate it out. Why is it not separated anymore?
The reimbursement amount
Pardon me?
is, all of the departments' overtime is inclusive in there. What typically was separated out was the reimbursement on your summary sheet. The reimbursement portion is separated.
Okay, but we used to have it separated on this sheet.
It's separated on. Any other question? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Taylor, Trustee Roll, Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Brown.
Yes, I just have I'm sorry, I got just a quick question for Mr. Jensen. On pages 4 and 6, it's a handwritten, it just says replacements, like handwritten. What does that mean?
So those were checks that were not cashed, and the vendor came back to us to get a replacement check for those.
Okay, thank you.
Did she vote?
Trustee Brown, what was your vote?
Oh, I say yes.
Motion passed. There's no mayor's report. We move to attorney's report.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mayor. We have quite the extensive attorney report, so please bear with me. First on the agenda is ordinance number 2025-08, an ordinance amending Chapter 26, Article 2, Section 26-38 of the Code of Ordinances for the Village of Glenwood regarding business license payments. This ordinance is designed to clarify the process for obtaining a business license in the Village of Glenwood with respect to when the actual business license fee is due versus any application fee, and how a business license is not issued until the actual approval of the business license, then subsequent full payment of the actual business license fee. This just helps clarify that process, and I would request a motion to approve the ordinance.
Questions?
I have a question. I guess, can you clarify, I guess, a little more in detail why we're amending or updating? I heard you when you stated that this is identifying the steps to getting a business license. What's the need to amend this ordinance?
Village Administrator.
Yes, thank you, Trustee Roll. So one of the things that I have tackled and I'm still tackling is the business license process itself within the village. It's very antiquated and kind of helter-skelter. The first step of fixing this process is removing a line in the code that states business license fee has to be paid at the time of application. In my mind, that creates a liability for the village, where if I were to come in and apply for a business license and pay my fee, that's implicit approval from the village. I've paid my fee for my license at the time of application. And so now if the village board denies my application for any reason, whether the zoning isn't correct or any other reason, I can come back now and file litigation against the village. And so it leaves us open to a liability. So the reason that I asked for this initial amendment was to eliminate that line of the code. And while we were doing that, we added an application fee. We don't currently have in our schedule of fees an application fee. That's something we're going to revisit as I finish going through the business license process. But in order to clarify, clean up any short-term problems, I wanted to eliminate that line of code first so that we're not collecting fees before we approve the license.
And Trustee Rowe, and that was predicated on that, me finding out afterwards that, potential business were getting licensed or paying for their license prior to me, being aware and or actually physically signing the license. So to alleviate that liability, it was critical that we change that process, that they go through the process first. Any other questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Hadnot.
Yes.
Trustee Roll.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Mosley. Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Aye.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is ordinance number 2025-09, an ordinance amending chapters 22 and 26 of the Code of Ordinances for the Village of Glenwood to regulate short-term residential rentals and the rental of residential swimming pools in the Village of Glenwood. This ordinance, as you can see, is that there's an attachment to Exhibit A that amends current provisions of the code. The first being the village's current regulations with respect to residential swimming pools and making it clear that you can't rent, and apparently people do this, your private residential swimming pool and just your swimming pool to outside third-party groups and for a profit, actually renting it without any sort of license or anything and letting them throw parties and doing whatever. And so that regulates and stops that from happening. We have commercial pools or public pools, and then you have a private swimming pool. You can't be renting it out, and it doesn't, nor does it limit your ability to have guests, of course, personal guests over at home. But you can't be renting out your own swimming pool as for profit. Secondly, we're updating parts of Chapter 26 of the Village Code regarding landlord licenses, and first trying to get ahead of pending legislation in Springfield that it looks like it's probably going to be eventually moving, that eliminates or preempts certain, quote, crime-free housing ordinances that most municipalities have. So we're trying to get around and avoid having our entire licensing program stricken. And on top of that, limiting and essentially prohibiting the ability to do a lot of Airbnb-style short-term rentals as the proposal.
And this too also was born out of a particular incident where a family had actually rented out their swimming pool, which created an incident. So as things come to our attention, when we're checking the ordinance, we take the opportunity to strengthen those ordinances to remove any real or perceived liability.
And with, I would request a motion to approve this ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Questions?
I have one question. How will enforcement take place?
What was the question?
How will enforcement take place?
Through your regular channels, as they are enforcing inspections. And although we removed out the language for the crime-free housing, those channels.
If I may add a little, so there's our regular code enforcement procedures would apply, whether it's a complaint or if the village becomes aware of someone in violation of these provisions, you know, All of these things,
Normal
these
channels.
listings, et cetera, are all very public. And so it doesn't take a lot to figure out if someone in Glenwood is listing their home or listing their swimming pool for rent and for some large parties or something like that. The village has means to figure that out.
Well, the reason I
Most
asked
normal
is,
channels.
in the past, there was many ordinances that simply weren't being enforced. For example, the crime-free housing that I wrote was never enforced. The pamphlets were never given to not one tenant. So it's great to pass an ordinance, but without enforcement, pissing in the wind.
But how would you know? Someone would have to tell you, or there would have to be a problem at the residence that identifies that this pool was rented.
Yes.
But at least the ordinance is in place so that when the information presents itself, then you can enforce.
Correct.
Mayor, if I may. So one of the things that kind of prompted this was, or portion of this was, I had a conversation with several of my colleagues from surrounding communities who have been looking into or passing these kinds of ordinances. And just on my own, every Monday morning when I sit down on my computer, when I get to the office with my cup of coffee, I go on Airbnb or VRBO or Swimply, which is the website that apparently exists now to rent out swimming pool, and take a look and see if anything has been listed in Glenwood in the last week. So that's something I'm going to continue to do, especially now that we've got these ordinances on the books, if the board chooses to approve them. And if I see anything pop up, I will pass it along to the police department immediately. So, I can't speak for what has happened in the past or how ordinances have or haven't been enforced in the past, but to the extent that, I just have taken an interest in this particular one, I will make sure it's passed along to the police department proactively before we even get the issue of, hey, my neighbor's having a party or they're renting their pool out. Can't do it with everyone, but this is one in particular that, I've had my eye on already.
Thanks for the explanation.
Question. So on these rental platforms, though, shouldn't there be something preventing Glenwood from even being an address that you can actually populate and rent? Shouldn't we just kind of be blacklisted through Airbnb and all these other companies where you can't even list? Is that an option, or I thought that's how it was supposed to be?
I don't think so. I know with the last issue that we had, it was, I think, Chief through Eventbrite, where there was an event listed and advertised through Eventbrite that was in the village of Glenwood, and the police department proactively contacted Eventbrite and told them, anybody that tickets for this event will be arrested or will be fined or cited or whatever. This event's going to be shut down. Do not allow any more. If you want to expound upon, how you all handled that, but I don't think you can do a general blacklist on it, but being proactive in, kind of monitoring these sites.
Community, there was supposed to be a large gathering in Hickory Park. It was authorized, the event was something not on the village. So we did a multi-pronged approach. We did counter messaging on social media where it was posted. The event was not lawful or authorized. We contacted Eventbrite and told them the very same thing. We contacted the person who posted it, told them we have all the ramifications what happened. We should so we're doing everything we can to shut you down. That's what we did.
Is there a way to educate the public on this, where we're saying this is a no-no and don't do it, or, because I'm finding out that when I go to HOA meetings, people are not going online and reading these. They are not. So how do we get to the public to say, can't do it?
I think there's definitely a public education aspect that needs ordinances that are passed. Facebook can only go so far. The village's website can only go so far. I think the HOAs, especially in this community, are powerful. And, various village officials going and visiting the HOA meetings and passing these updates along is helpful. But I think, the neighbors, we've got a room full of people here tonight. We've got untold number of people watching on YouTube for the first time. We need to continue to spread the message throughout the community and get people used to finding their information from different channels.
I have a question. Is there, coupled with that, because we have some, again, HOAs that are organized and we have some sections that are not. Is there a way that we can mail something or put something, we always say in the water bill, that says, we do not allow Airbnbs? Simple as that. We do not allow you to rent, you cannot rent your pool. Simple. I agree with the ordinance, obviously, but again, if this is it, where is the enforcement? I mean, some fine enforcement, arrest, something can be added to this in addition to on the website to have the general public, in addition to a mailer. I mean, there are different ways that people, get information. Technically, mailing, reading, et cetera, is that possible to get that out?
We certainly can, as we are amending, updating, creating ordinance, we can brainstorm to see what other reasonable avenues out there.
Thank you. Have we, last question about this, have we thought about what the fine would be?
They're included in the ordinance. The fines and the fees are included in
But not in this part.
in this part it
Where
is.
is that at?
Yeah, can I suggest that we
Haven't
use
seen
the
these.
firehouse and the village marquees for this kind of advertisement as well?
Use it for what purpose?
Any,
For this kind of information?
where to find it?
As I said, we can explore other options. That's a lot of information. We have thousands of ordinance. So we can certainly brainstorm and see what would be the best method as we update them to get that information out.
Would also add, if the village has a pretty comprehensive informative packet that we give out to residents as they come in and purchase a new home. This is something certainly that we can add into that packet, because I think as it stands right now, this is not necessarily an existing issue. This is us trying to get ahead of an issue in the future. And so if we include information about these ordinances in particular, that may be another way that we can get that information out.
Right, is that packet given to rentals as well?
It is given to anybody that comes in to register new water service.
Great, thanks.
Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Roll, Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the list is ordinance number 2025-10, an ordinance amending Chapter 26 of the Village of Glenwood Code of Ordinances to license and regulate cannabis business establishments in the Village of Glenwood. This is being brought, the village previously passed in 2022 or so, the relevant zoning requirements for various cannabis-related businesses. There's one that's planning to come into the village, and that the zoning was approved. There has never been a specific cannabis business regulation or license, business license approved in the village that many other villages has done, so that there is more local specific control over their operations and what they can and can't do, where they can and can't be, and the processes for that, and how many licenses there'll be available total, so we don't have, every other store being a various cannabis store, so you have a limit in the number of actual licenses available as allowed by law. So this is a fairly comprehensive, completely new section to the business license chapter of the code that implements this type of regulation of cannabis-related businesses, including dispensaries, and what the application fees are, what the business license fees are, and for any future businesses, the ability to enter into development agreements and have impact fees, the annual impact fees that benefit the village, and other various considerations. Like I said, many other municipalities have that are benefiting and able to take some of that revenue from these businesses and put it right back into their own communities. So I would ask for a motion to approve this ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Questions?
I have a question. I saw today where the cannabis place is opened already.
No, they still have not gotten their business license yet.
Okay, because they had a sign outside open for business.
Okay, Fire Chief?
I walked by there this morning. I did not see that.
I saw it this evening.
I know that the certain parts of their business
They
license
open
application
it
have been
soon.
signed off on, but the business license itself has not been approved yet, so we will make sure that the fire chief and the code enforcement go check it out. Make sure they're not open without a license.
Yeah, they don't have a business license as of yet. Okay. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Roll,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is ordinance number 2025-11, an ordinance implementing a municipal grocery occupation tax and a municipal grocery occupation tax for the village of Glenwood, Cook County, Illinois. This is, you may have heard around the state, the municipal grocery tax. However, it's important to know that this is basically just a continuation of the current grocery tax that is in place in the state of Illinois. What the General Assembly did is made each municipality adopt and pass its own in order to continue this tax. This would go into effect January 1st, 2026. This all and has to be passed before October 1st. And again, all this does is make sure everything stays the same. There's no increase in the tax or anything like that. It just retains what currently is in place. I would ask for a motion to approve the ordinance.
Second.
Any questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Roll, Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Mosley, Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you. The next item is ordinance number 2025-12, an ordinance amending Chapter 94, Article 2, Section 94-31, Home Rule Municipal Retailers Occupation Tax imposed, and Chapter 94, Article 3, Section 94-1, Home Rule Municipal Service Occupation Tax imposed, the Code of Ordinances of the Village of Glenwood, Cook County, Illinois. This is collectively known as the Home Rule Sales Tax. Proposal is to increase this tax from 1% to 2% pursuant to the village's home rule powers. This has never been increased or touched before, and I believe the mayor and the village administrator can speak more to it, but the goal is to take advantage of certain revenues, especially from groups, non-resident groups that are people that visit the village and buy things in the village and pay tax the village without having to increase or do anything with property tax, and try to lay off that and have other sources of revenue. But again, I defer to the mayor and administrator.
Yes, that this revenue stream, the intent is to capture, as the attorney said, the revenues from the casino and for the traffic that comes through Glenwood to have those transit to also pay into those our governmental tax collection revenues. So it's money that we have historically left on the table, trying to capture those revenues. Did you want to add something? No? Any other?
So that request a motion to approve.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor, Trustee Williams, Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Mosley,
Yes.
Trustee Roll.
Thank you. The next item is resolution number 2025-7, a resolution approving a permanent easement agreement between the Village of Glenwood and the property owners of 319 North Park Drive, Glenwood, Illinois. This is in regards to a pending matter that has been discussed by the board a number of times and finally got to a resolution and negotiated settlement with the property owners, and as part of it's a crucial element as part of the George Arquilla Park levy project. And there's an extensive history and a lot of moving pieces to it, and obviously seeing the recent weather, why these types of projects are so important to get completed. And so I would ask for a motion. I actually asked for a motion to approve the resolution and authorize the payment in the amount of $20,000 as part of the acquisition of the permanent easement and settlement of any claims.
I'll second the motion.
Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Taylor? Trustee Williams? Trustee Hadnot?
Yes.
Trustee Mosley?
Yes.
Trustee Roll? Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. The final matter for action as part of the attorney report is resolution number 2025-08, a resolution approving a settlement agreement and general lease between the Village of Glenwood, Cook County, Illinois, and retired village employee regarding sick pay compensation. This is in regards to, as the village board note, is where the former fire chief's claim for accrued sick leave. Here's the request for executive.
Would you like to go in closed session? Is there a motion to? There's a motion on the floor to go into closed session.
Just the proper motion to proceed to enter executive, it would be a motion to enter executive session pursuant to section 2C11 Illinois Open Meetings Act to discuss possible, probable, and imminent litigation against or affecting the village. And the basis for finding the probable or imminent litigation shall be recorded into the minutes of the closed session.
I think it'd be best if we stayed in open session and let the people know where their money is being spent. We can use terms like employee one. We don't have to use someone's name. And I think now everyone
Name
knows
is in
who
the
it is.
motion.
We will have.
There's a motion on the floor to go into executive session. First, second. No. She made the motion.
Motion to go into closed session.
He read the motion. Okay. Okay. Motion dies for a lack of a second.
Okay, so this matter, I'm happy to answer questions, but we request for this, the proper motion would be to approve the resolution, which approves the settlement agreement between the Village of Glenwood and Kevin Welsh Sr. regarding sick pay compensation in the amount of $63,367.
Motion.
We need a motion to discuss it, right?
No, I'm sorry. No, he asked, there's a motion on the floor to approve the resolution 200508.
Who made the motion?
No,
No, I requested the motion. I'm requesting a motion for approval. I need a first and a second.
Dies without a motion?
if I may.
Ask the question. You tried to.
So I have a question. So don't you need a motion to even discuss it before you even seek
no motion, it
approval?
dies on the floor.
Right.
So I'd like to make a motion to discuss first this before we vote.
Okay. Discussion? Right.
There's no second.
In a second.
Taylor, second. The motion was to have for closed session.
It not, right.
Closed session, so we have to discuss.
You didn't open, right.
Okay,
That's
discussion?
So,
Discussion?
yes, there was a first and a second. Okay. First question. I know that $63,000 is a lot of money. But in order for us to make the right decision, please state what the policy currently is, because this shouldn't be an emotional decision.
Right.
This should be what the policy is. So what is the policy?
Actually, the policy, our current personnel policy from 2015, and with the board's approval, that the retired fire chief was entitled to the sick payout at the amount of his leave salary, which came to the total amount of, what is that total amount?
130 days or 1,040 hours.
Right. It was,
If the iteration of it, from what we've gathered, is
right.
in 1992, the original policy, I apologize. In 1992, there was a policy in place in the village where you were entitled to up to 130 days of accrued sick time,
60.
with 130 by, if you, upon your retirement.
Mhm.
And then that had been subsequently amended over time, but each time there was a provision that there would be allowed, basically grandfathering in, if you had accrued that time beforehand, that you got to keep that sick time. And it was fairly ambiguous, and then fairly ambiguous each time somehow about how that was actually going to be applied. And then there are other accounting errors and problems with the village's records of how, especially this employee, either used his sick time or did not, or which bank of sick time he was using or not, and if he ever did. Right, or was asked not to use it, et cetera. In 2015, to be clear, the current policy moving forward for all employees is that you can't get sick time paid out. But you cannot have any accrued sick time paid out. So if you, especially if you were hired in 2015 or after, your sick time is not, accrued sick time is not a payable event. It's not something paid out. And that's consistent with Illinois law. The issue here is the claim that these hours were essentially promised to him under some sort of agreement.
Right.
And whether and what agreement he has with village and prior administrations and prior officials in writing, and how this has all been calculated. The issue is that if the village were to litigate this issue, there's not the level of record keeping and practices and accounting practices and
It's
how
not in our
this was
paper.
all tracked is insufficient, in my opinion, to properly be able to defend the village. It could, and there are some legal things in our favor, but at the same time, there's some major legal things against, and under the Wage Payment and Collection Act of Illinois, if you were to have a judgment against the village, and he would be claiming significantly more than what the village would be giving him here. There's also penalties and fees that would be going into that, and as well as his attorney fees that the village would have to pay. So the calculus in my recommendation in approving this, as much of a difficult pill as that is to swallow, is compounded by the two factors really of the significant potential penalty that the village would have to pay, and the lack of an ability to have a factual defense that, based on the records we have. And so, and knowing this employee in particular, and what records he has, that he would be able to potentially establish the village's liability. That's what I would fear in this case.
So,
The loss is significant, and the ability to defend against that loss is severely diminished.
so did I hear you say, Attorney Ross, that he has an actual document from the previous mayor?
No.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that. 'Cause I thought you said he had some documentation promising him this 1,040 hours of sick
Yes.
time, which will be 11 years of sick time. There was something in his file placed by the former village president.
Yes, in 2015, it was approved for the former fire chief to, at the time of his exit from the village, to receive the 1,040 hours. The 1,040 hours at at his salary rate whenever,
Right.
whatever that rate was when he left.
Right, so
So
the
that-
1,040 hours is the maximum,
Right.
isn't it? So it
Yes,
wasn't,
maximum.
so that would be 11 years of sick time. And the policy was changed in 2015, and his employment began in 1995. So what we're saying is that in 20-year time period, he was not sick for 11 years, even though I know personally he had several surgeries. Hernia surgeries, back surgery, hip surgery. So
I think
I'm
for-
suspect that he may have some sick time, but he
That-
doesn't have 1,040 hours of sick time.
According to our documentation, the former chief had the hours that he is being paid to based on our personnel manual at the time, based on the approval of the previous administration. He is entitled to that amount.
So I'm looking at the 2015 personnel policy, which I've read, and thanks to Tony Plott, he gave me the 2001 personnel policy, which are basically identical.
Yes.
Which means that we've done nothing with our HR policy a quarter of a century. And there's also an email or a report done by Terry Wilson back in 2023 that documents our lack of HR policies, yet we took no action.
Well, a lesson learned, and moving forward, we will be reviewing the personnel manual for the board's recommendation and updating that. So for the record, HR has been informed that current practices that's not consistent with 2015 should cease immediately, and that we should only be following the current personnel manual so that we can avoid these shortcomings going forward.
I have a question. Is there a different, or was there a different method of calling in sick for a department head? It's a two-part question. Was there a different method for a department head to say that they were sick versus an employee? Because in here, it says that I'm paraphrasing it, we don't really know if it was all of those hours, but he said so. And maybe this question has already been asked. It's kind of hard to hear, from that side to this side. What documentation, other than I was sick all this time, legally do we have that shows the days that he gave up? Do you understand what I'm saying? How do we?
Based on December 15, 2015, based on the calculation in the sick bank system, at that time, he had 1,040 hours.
That he didn't use.
That he had accumulated those hours, and policy was if you accumulate those hours, that he was grandfathered in to have the ability to bank those hours until he left employment with the village.
And this is again the max. So if he was still here, I'm just asking.
Anything after, had accrued, 1,041. He didn't. So these hours that are in question are hours that he had accrued up to 2015. Anything after that was not payable.
Do we have any other employees that have, no one else has been here that long per se? But do we
No,
have?
this is a unique situation.
I just wanted to make sure there's nobody else out there that got 500, 600, 1,000, 2,000 sick hours.
No.
So we can nip this in the
No.
bud now, because I've never
No.
seen anything.
And no one else will be able to accrue and or to buy out any sick time.
Mayor, if I may.
How about vacation time? Is this the
Vacation
same?
is different. No.
Okay, okay.
I believe there may be one existing employee in police department that
He doesn't have enough hours.
predates.
He doesn't. Nope, this is unique to this one individual.
And we'll be working with, I'll be working with the administrator and mayor to make sure that we'll say the accounting, but it's the HR documenting this actual sick time and how it's is compliant with the actual policy, because I'm not sure if that was the case in this case, so.
And so, yes, so in honor of his many years of service and the documentation that we had before us, this is in the best interest of the village to move forward and to not litigate any further to create additional burden for the village.
Right, you need a motion?
Yep, no other questions, looking for a motion.
So moved. Second.
So the motion, just to clarify, would be to approve the resolution number 2025-08, approving the settlement agreement on general lease between the Village of Glenwood and Kevin Welsh Sr. regarding sick pay compensation in the amount of $63,367.
$63,600 and
$367.
okay. Roll first and you second. Roll first, Taylor second. Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Rowe,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
No.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Hadnot,
No.
Trustee Mosley.
No.
Mary, vote.
Tied.
I break the tie. I break the tie in the best interest of the village. As the attorney has stated, for us to continue to litigate it with the lack of supporting documentation would cost us more than that to pay the penalty, the fines, his attorney fees. It is in the best interest, although it is not the best course. It is the fair and the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do that he had the documentation on his side and it was previously approved, and we cannot contest that.
Right.
So I break the tie based on the facts presented to me.
To vote.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And with that, that would conclude my report.
Village, motion pass. Village administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple quick updates on some things that were mentioned at the National Night Out meeting that we had. The first is announcing the Village of Glenwood's partnership with Mentoring Youth Through Technology, which is an organization that works with youth throughout the Southland to introduce them to STEM programs. On September 27th here at Village Hall from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., kids, we will be offering a robotics workshop for kids aged 9 to 13 here in the village. It will be an introduction to robotics, and there will be information about how to sign up for it available tomorrow on the website and the Facebook page, as well as on the front door of City Hall or Village Hall here for that program. We have already sent out notices via, again, Facebook and the village's website for our Secretary of State pop-up event, which will be happening here at Village Hall on November 22nd. The Secretary of State's office will be coming into Village Hall here from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. To allow residents to renew their driver's license, renew their vehicle registration, apply for or renew their real ID or their real driver's license. This is an appointment-only based event. Their spaces are limited. The Secretary of State's office has given us 50 spaces, 50 appointment spaces. So if you would like to sign up for this and you haven't, please email me at jpatton@villageofglenwood.com. And we will get you signed up for that. I will confirm your appointment and your appointment time via email. To the item number 2 in my report, which is, to item number 1 under the departmental report for Public Works. In the time that the agenda was printed and this evening, Public Works Director Joe has gotten an additional quote from United Rental here in Glenwood to repair the Vector truck at a significant cost savings to the amount that we were asking for approval tonight. So the amount that we're asking for approval is going to be $7,868.77, as opposed to the almost $17,000 that you see on your agenda tonight. So I'd like to thank our Public Works Joe for seeking out additional quotes there and keeping the business here in the Village of Glenwood. Just a quick update on the Glenwood Dyer Bridge construction. I know that people have come here at the prior village board meeting, as well as the coffee with the mayor events, and asked if the construction is going to continue coming westbound off the bridge through the Main Street area. We did just receive notification from IDOT that resurfacing project will continue. So it will be a much needed resurfacing project, which when it's done will be great for the village. But again, there will probably be additional closures there. More information will follow. There were some delays on the bridge project. So as it moves forward, we'll make sure the village is aware of what those closures are going to be. And finally, as was mentioned earlier today, we are finally live on YouTube. It was something I mentioned, I think, at my second meeting here. As you can see on the TVs here before us, the village board meetings will now be live streamed on YouTube. So if you're not able to make it here to sit here in person, I believe the information is on the agenda. It's Village of Glenwood IL on YouTube, and they're streamed live on YouTube. So that concludes my report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a second. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't conclude my report. We talked about it earlier, so I am looking for a motion to approve the quote for the Windows 11 upgrade of all the village's computers in an amount not to exceed $42,400, and direct the finance department to remit payment to Heritage Technology Solutions. Again, as mentioned earlier in the meeting, for the upgrade to all of our village computers to Windows 11, which has to be done by the end of October. The bulk of that cost comes at replacement of machines in our police and fire vehicles.
I'll make that motion.
Questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Rowe,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Brown,
What is this motion for again? Is this for the truck, the repair, or is this for the Windows 11? Yes.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
Motion pass. Department reports, Public Works.
Good evening. Looking to seek motion of repairs to the public work Vector truck in an amount not to exceed $7,868.77.
So move.
I'll second. Good job, Joe.
Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Rowe,
Yes.
Trustee Taylor,
Yes.
Trustee Williams, Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Hadnot,
Yes.
Trustee Mosley.
Yes.
You gonna do the
You left out trustee reports.
trustee report? Are you gonna do that?
Not on the agenda, right?
Yes, I have a couple things.
Do you have?
Go
one?
ahead.
Oh, I just want to say that the Forest, we're having a meeting for the Forest residents on September 17th at 6:30 in the Forest Field House. Everybody that lives in the Forest, please come out. Also, I just want to say that I am the board liaison for the advisory committee. So I'm restarting that. The first committee meeting will be on October 6th. That's the first Monday of every month, right here in the Village Hall, where you're sitting. Thank you.
I'd like to maybe have on the agenda for next month an RFQ for doing HR differently, to write a HR policy for the village. I'd like to have an RFQ for an HR company to write a village policy for HR, since ours has not been updated for 25 years. And I'd also like an RFI for a portable truck scale, because we have semis coming through the manor. We have semis making U-turns on 187th. We have a semi on every corner, it seems like. So I'd like to have an RFI maybe for a truck scale that the police can use. Yes?
I'd like to remind everyone that the Glenwood Lions is having our Rib Fest this Saturday. We open up to the public at 11 o'clock. We want to give a special thank you to Public Works and Joe. He's been calling on us every day, saying, we got this, we need this, and we got this covered, and we got that covered. He does cross all the streets and down all the time. Thank you very much.
There are several committee meetings this week, well, two. Tomorrow is the senior meeting at 6:30, 7 o'clock. And on Thursday, we have a finance committee meeting at 7 o'clock.
On
Thank you.
Thursday, we also have an events committee meeting at 3 o'clock.
Is that it for the trustee reports? Thank you all. As you can see that the trustees have been working diligently for us to revise, update ordinance to move things forward. New business, any department head reports? No?
Mayor, the engineer reminded me that I left one item out of my report. On Monday, August 25th at 10 a.m., we'll be, is it 11? I thought it was 10. We'll be conducting ribbon cutting at the Arquilla Park levee project, which is coming to its conclusion, although it's been a little bit delayed due to all the rain yesterday. They were supposed to begin the seeding for the grass today, but it's a little mushy out there, so.
I'll throw some seed out there tomorrow morning.
It'll grow real well now. But I was out there with MWRD official Monday of this past week to set up a spot for the ribbon cutting itself to conclude the almost conclusion of the project. I believe it was 10 or 11. Okay, so 11 a.m., Monday, the 25th. The location will be, if you come into the driveway and turn north or west, I guess, towards Halsted behind the pump house there, you'll see the spot there as you can kind of look out onto the levee towards the bulk of the project. We invite the community and the board to join us.
Is that 11 a.m. or 10 a.m.?
MWRD's press release says 11 a.m.
Okay.
I was working under the assumption it was 10, but if they put out 11, that's what it is.
Okay, 11 a.m. Community, please come out and join us. Trustee Williams.
Yeah, I forgot to say thank you to one other person here. That is for JR over there. He agreed to be our judge and to select all of the top 15 vehicles in our car show this weekend. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. And I'm glad it's not my job to do.
Okay, old business.
I got a quick question about that.
Mhm.
When are we going to work on the basketball hoops? Like the basketball hoops, the nets and the basketball hoops.
Are you
They're not,
referring?
they're not
okay.
even nets anymore,
Are you referring to at Aquila Park?
Aquila Park and at Hickory Glen. They're awful.
We're in the process of reviewing the renovation and looking at grants to be able to do it. So probably spring. Any other old business? Open to the public, 3 minutes.
Leon Fields, 307 Minerva. I'll be brief as I can. You found $10,000 and saved $10,000 on that back truck. That's a major issue. Now with environmental issues as they are right now, and you can tell from the weather and the flood in the south suburbs, and in fact, in the United States, everywhere you go, there's heavy flooding. Over in Hickory Glen Park, when the park was redone, what happened, the retention area was supposed to be over on the Dorchester side. It was moved toward Minerva. And my backyard faces the park. So what's happening now is we're getting heavy drainage, and I've had foundation repairs twice. And I'm sure some of this is due to the fact that the retention pond is approximately 20, I'd say maybe 30 feet from my house. So right now it flooded, and I received some water last night. The park, I want to say that the way the park was set up and the way the drainage system works, we have issues in the park. Right now, right by where the porta toilet is, there's areas of a puddle, a large puddle. People walking through the park have to step off into the grass, into the muddy area, either turn around and come back in another direction. And I believe this is due to the way that the drainage system was set up in the park. So I hope that when they do the new park over in Aquila, that they don't have the same issues that we have over at Hickory Glen Park. On that note, that park flooded one time. The only way we could get the water down was the back truck had to come in on 192nd Street, Joe. And then it alleviated some of the situation that we have. But it's an issue that's out there, and it should be looked at by engineering. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, Tony from Aquila. So my memory harkens back to our firehouse that was $2 million over budget. So we had a gentleman who was allowed to control every aspect of the construction of that building. And so it just gives you an example how one person can cost the village a lot of money. The 10 years that the previous administration was there, out of those years, how many years was this gentleman village administrator?
Almost 4.
Almost 4 of that 10. And so I'm appalled that there was no record of these accrued hours during that time that the same gentleman was the village administrator. I want to applaud Trustee Brown, who stuck to her vote despite being pressured to vote otherwise. And I'm hoping that this will never occur again. This is how suburban towns get into trouble and never recover. Now, considering how this gentleman was allowed to depart, a person who claimed he loved Glenwood and would do anything for Glenwood did not want to have a more palatable end to the situation. Everything that was asked, the village did. So right now I'm pretty disgusted because we have to do better. And I know with this administration we will. I understand the mayor had to vote the way she voted. I also understand how certain board members voted the way they voted because, you know, they still have certain allegiances that will be taken care of in the next election. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Deborah Birmingham, I'm thankful, Mr. Hadnot, Trustee Hadnot, that you mentioned the need for an HR overview handbook. This village should never have been in this position. There needs to be oversight over every employee, so employees are given what they're due, and we're not paying out anything that we may not need to pay out. I also hope in the next meeting or two, that you all will report on what's going on with Glenwood Oaks, because that was a financial concern. Tuscan Gardens, as well as the road repair that was placed going toward between Glenwood Oaks and the school, Glenwood Academy. The village is just coming out of so much money. And to me, very little has been used to help residents who are in serious need. So I like the idea of an HR oversight to go over the various policies. And I do know you all have a lot on your plate. I applaud you for what you're doing, and I trust that we will move forward and make Glenwood better and stronger for everyone.
Regarding Tuscan Garden, I met with Mike Hussein last week, and I'm going to pass that information along to legal for further discussion. And then once we have that information, he did indicate that the outstanding balance, it was his intent to make us whole, while he also have a tentative person that's wanting to lease it, but we need to receive that in writing. So once we have some information in writing, we can report that out. And we also have an upcoming with Tuscan Garden regarding potential tenants regarding that. Regarding the road, JR.
Yes, as I think I reported at a prior meeting, the village engineer and I, as well as Public Works, Police, Fire, we all met, I believe it was about a week and a half ago, out at the bridge construction site itself, with representatives from IDOT and from Deconstruction, the contractor working on the bridge. It was expressed in not so uncertain terms, the village's displeasure at how long this project has dragged on. It was expressed that the village believed that the contractor didn't care about us anymore and didn't care about getting this project completed, and did not care about the burden that it was putting on the residents, that this one-year project was about to enter year 6. There was some conversation had about things that might take place if the project did not continue and get finished up this fall. And within 24 hours, I think Julie was on site marking out, and you can see within the last 10 days, the guardrail's been constructed. Roadway work has continued on both sides of the bridge. And I think, it'd be fair to say that this project should be completed, this fall for sure, if not, in the next few weeks, based on the conversations we had out there, the progress we've seen, in the 10 days or so since we met out there and kind of laid out some of the guidelines the village had put in place.
Good evening, trustees and mayor. First of all, Judith Mims, 349 Strife Lane. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for their attendance and input at our back-to-school event this past Saturday. Chief Petticourt, Fire Chief Welch, Joe, Mr. Patton. I hope I'm not leaving anybody else out, but thank you so very much from our Glenwood Estates Homeowners Association. It was a success because of you and because of your input. Secondly, I just want to confirm what you said about this Airbnb ordinance regarding the pools. I just want to confirm it, that because there's an Airbnb near me, and there is a pool that is rented out separately from the Airbnb that has been going on since they started the Airbnb 4 years ago. So I want to confirm that you're saying that the ordinance says that the pool cannot be rented out at all. Okay, the pool is an in-ground pool. It sits right there right at the house. So, I want to confirm that because that Airbnb that sits there is still an issue, big time, in our area. Did I hear that correctly? Yes. Okay. My suggestion personally is that you're trying to figure out how to confirm this ordinance so that it will work. Airbnb needs to be notified with a document from the village, hand-delivered, so that they know that this is not approved anymore. You cannot do this. If you do, there is the consequence, which would be 1, 2, and 3, a fine, court date, or whatever, That's my suggestion, not just to put it in the water bill, but to have it delivered to the owner of that property so that he knows, because he will say he had no idea because he has gotten away with this all this time. That's my suggestion on that. I would like the cannabis place. I didn't know that it was not approved to be open yet. We live directly across the street from there. And I don't know, did I hear correctly? There's going to be another cannabis to open?
No.
This will be the only one?
Yes.
Right now, okay. All right, because I knew about it coming, sorta, in the last administration, but we need input from the residences about businesses like that, instead of just hypothetically just opening them. And everybody in our area is talking about they didn't know anything about it being a business.
That's why we created the new business ordinance so that does not happen.
Mhm.
Forward.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. I don't know if anybody has noticed, it hasn't been brought up since one of the residents just mentioned about the drainage in the park. In the plaza where the Pearl Vision is and the JJ Fish and the liquor store, that it is hard. I don't know if you know this.
That's Homewood.
That's Homewood? Yes. I always thought it was Glenwood. That's Homewood. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. I rest my case on that. Okay. Thank you. But you can't even pull in there. The water was it might be taller now but anyway, okay. I think I've used up my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Murdoch again, just with a couple of side notes. I just want to ask Chief Petticourt, how many truck enforcement?
You might not see it. I don't see it. You don't have it. lot of it has made for truck enforcement spots, it's just another police department officers who's the truck enforcement officer certified. So there's nothing to notice whether you have a person, whether they're a truck enforcement officer. We do have a few officers who are certified.
Also, to the point that, Ms. Mayor, I just wanted to indicate to you that I applaud you like a matador, right, how much that you have to do over and complaints about things that they have seen happening, such as the smoke shop. And they're blaming you when we already know that happened, it was approved before you were elected into office. However, we see the same people here over time and time again. But the people that are complaining are the ones who don't show up. And then when they don't show up, they see things and they want to make a complaint about something. I don't know how we're going to address that. It's just something that we solve and swallow, you know. But we here know that that was approved from the previous administration. I want to applaud you for standing on that matter, but you know, get the hell out.
Thank you.
That's the best I can say. Also, the computers, if you're gonna update that's not that. If you're gonna update with the computers, I just like to know, what are you gonna do with the old computers? Is there a spot for them to go someplace particularly, just destroy them or?
It's just a software update.
It's the software and the computers that will be replaced are specifically for fire and police, and I believe that they're inside their vehicles. Yeah. It's not a desktop. And then regarding the communication, that communication staff and I are working on first 100 days to discuss where we at to include previous projects and the status of those projects. Thank you. No other public comments. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Everybody making that motion.
Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Hadnot.
Yes.
Trustee Roll.
Yes.
Trustee Taylor.
Yes.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Brown.
Yes.
Trustee Mosley.
Thank you all. And Saturday with chat with the mayor. We'll have the police department and the police chief there to discuss community safety. So please let your neighbors know, come out, ask questions and learn about what we are doing related to community safety. Good night, everyone. Safe travels home.